Nice. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We see folks tuning in. But let's just get started, given we have a short amount of time. This is a first of the series that we are kicking off. It's AI² Workjams, and the idea is to show the power of AI and automation and integration working together. And our belief is like AI brings a multiplier effect to what can be accomplished with automation and integration. Therefore, the AI squared work jams. And this this series will showcase live demos. Will show how customers are using AI and automation for various business processes. And we also have a event, like a more physical event that's coming up, where you will get to actually build out some of these use cases that you see during this session. So that said, today's topic, it's about turbocharging customer service with AI and automation. It's very topical. It's one of the areas that's benefiting from AI the most. And I'm joined by Neil Shah, who's a product manager at Workato, and he leads up all the AI connectivity products and all the fun things with AI. Neil, you want to introduce yourself?
Oh, hey, yeah. Hey, everyone. My name is Neil, and I'm a product manager at Workato, as Srini mentioned. And yeah, I look after a lot of the connectors that you would see on the platform and kind of allowing you to integrate seamlessly within your workflows. And that's all kind of my purview. So yeah, Srini, back to
And
you.
you will walk the talk later on, Neil, right?
Oh, yes. I'll be walking you through the demo here today
All
as
right.
well.
And I'm Tree. I work in the product team. And before we get started, just some housekeeping. We plan to make this a recurring demo that will bring in different types of use cases and ideas that give you some aspirations to how to use AI in your companies. The recording, it will be available after the event on the same link that you're using to register for this event. And finally, any questions, please post in the comment section, and we'll answer them during the demo or take some questions towards the end. So next. But as we get started, maybe it'll be good to know, like every company, every customer that we speak to, they're in different stages of adopting AI. And if you can take a moment to tell us where you are with your usage of AI, like are you just getting started learning and exploring, but no concrete plans? You're evaluating some projects that planned, and or like you're more advanced, like actively integrating Gen AI into various business workflows. Or just cautiously watching because your IT teams have security concerns, or there are other reasons, like you don't know where to get started, where to get value. If you can share like where you are in your journey, that would help us understand like how to design these sessions. So, okay. And please post that. And then, Neil, if you can go to the next one, please. Okay, and the next one is also for us to make this good use of your time, make it exciting and interesting and useful for you. Just tell us a little more about what are you looking to learn from this in this session. Is it just like general, the art of the possible with Gen AI, or like actually you have ideas but you don't know how to use it, the technical part of using Gen AI? Or very specifically this topic around Gen AI to improve customer service, or any other. Please post your thoughts and comments about this one as well. And again, all your feedback, we'll take that, incorporate that, and will help us make better sessions going forward. Next one, Neil. So today's topic, it's very topical, and there are several areas. I think McKinsey in the last few months or so had produced a report about the impact of Gen AI on the overall global economy, and estimated somewhere around $4.4 trillion of impact. But they had identified maybe around 63 different areas in every business, and among those, customer service ranked at the top. And the big part, like the idea of using AI for customer service is not new. All of us have interacted with these bots, live chat bots that are supposed to be driven by AI and machine learning. But all of us, you could agree that those interactions have always felt kind of robotic, with lack of a better word, and very artificial and very rule based. But Gen AI is like the trends that we see is changing all of that. It's much more intelligent and not artificial, and we'll see some examples of that. And again, what customers are expecting with AI is it will make customer service easier, more efficient. It will make it even easier on the customer experience side, where you don't have to tell a whole lot of things because of those large language models and so on. There's enough learning to understand what a customer is asking, and then respond with the right information. So, and overall, there is just a lot of optimism around that it will improve the quality of customer service. Next one, Neil. And we will dive into one specific area today, but here's just a short list of ideas and use cases that we have seen customers building out around improving customer service, whether it be auto-generated replies, post-call processing. The one big one is when you transfer from one agent to another, you don't have to repeat the same information over again. Call quality scoring, coaching opportunities, that's all the back office side of things. These are, again, just a short list. There are thousands of others that is in the works across various customers. So Neil, that said, and we will try to cover more of these in the upcoming episodes of this series. But today, Neil, why don't we walk through one of these, which is the auto-generated replies.
Sorry, I was muted. I was so excited. Yeah.
This is something universal, regardless of what conferencing software you use. You start with a mute.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I was saying that customer service and customer experience is kind of ubiquitous, right? And inevitably, no matter what platform you're using, like no matter what service you're using, you will end up having to interact with customer service. Say you have to have a refund, a cancellation, or anything of that sort, or even just asking for more information or an inquiry. And so often this process kicks off with an email, right? And it goes into support at something.com, and hours go by, and then someone finally reviews it. They kind of parse all that information from that email into a ticket for their internal tracking. And by the time they've actually reviewed it and actually come up with a response, the earth has spun twice over, right? And the response is finally sent to you. And all of this, it just leads to a poor customer experience, right? A lot of time has been spent, which could have been better utilized by the customer support team itself. But more importantly, customer experience is hampered because there's extremely slow response times. And for the teams providing customer service and the organizations themselves, there's a higher cost of operation. And customer service kind of defines the experience for any service whatsoever. And that leads to a negative impact and a negative perception of the service itself. And you can then have to lower NPS scores, lower CSAT scores, as well as maybe an inevitable lower revenue and churn. And kind of just going straight into it and showing you how this would all look like when we try and solve it using Workato, right? So sorry. an AI agent can actually handle a section of this. It can actually take over the inquiry email, classify and categorize some information, analyze the sentiment, assess and even assign priority, and then the automation kicks in, and where it creates a ticket in the relevant system, generates a response, and then it goes into something that we always stress is review, ensuring that there's a human in the loop that is ensuring that whatever the AI is being generating is not going all the way forward because of hallucination, and just for a sanity check. And then that email is sent automatically as well. So to kind of show you how this will look, we are going to, I don't know how many of you have been following us, but we have this company called Zing, which that we utilize. It is a hardware company, and now they're branched into the e-commerce space. And William from Silverline has, kind of sent us an email saying, hey, regarding this order, I've been constantly asking for a refund, and there's a return process to it, and it's just not happening. And he's quite annoyed about it, right? And he has sent over this mail to us at Zing, to our support inbox, right? And what happens next is behind the scenes, it gets classified. We parse this information, but from for a logging perspective, and ensuring that it's actually visible, and we can go into Salesforce, and we have our account for Silverline Manufacturing, and a new case is automatically created, right? And once you go into this case, you can then see what type of a request it was, and it's a return request. And if we go back to kind of look at it, it did mention return issues as well as recent return, and a lot of talk regarding the purely about the return aspect of it, right? And so we've kind of classified that into a return request. Case origin is marked as email, and priority for now is just medium, right? And the description itself is over here. So, hey, I was writing this email, and all of it is already over here for someone to look at within Salesforce as a case when they want to. Secondly, we have a base pre-generated response that we have put in, which is kind of parsed, which which we'll then review in our portal as well. But this highlights the case number, and it actually even mentions the details of the case, right? Talking about how he has constantly had to reach out to them. And some of these information are going to be populated back actually when you go into the portal, especially around email and the hotline. And you see it's signed by the Zing support team, right? And so this is kind of just what we see, right? And what's kind of happening behind the scenes. So to kind of show you how it would look, this is our customer feedback app that we have created using Workato apps, which is kind of the UI for all of the processes that are happening under the hood. If you want to go back to the slide quickly, when you have all of this happening, you want a place where the customer success team can come in, can review what is happening, can look at the tasks that have been assigned to them, as well as approve and reject as needed, right? And so for that, we have this Workato apps portal. And maybe let me go to this task and take a look at what's going on, right? You can see over here that the name has been populated, case ID, as well as the query type, and I can edit it and override it if needed, right? The email itself is included as well. And the review comments, right? This was actually auto-generated using a prompt and various descriptions that we have included. Over here, again, it's exactly as you saw in Salesforce. It talks about how, what the issue the customer is facing and how we can, hopefully improve it for them, right? And so let's say for over here, I want to get rid of this, and I can then say support at zing.com, right? As well as include the hotline, which would be 1-800-555, right? Something like that, right? And we can then go ahead with this request, and I can hit approve, right? And actually, in this specific case, this is going to be escalated, and I'll kind of show you very much behind the scenes why we've decided to escalate the specific case, but it kind of gets assigned to the customer success manager instead of just the customer success executives. And then you go and you can review it again. I'm logged in as a manager, so I can view it again. But you see over here that the tone is set to angry, right? Based on the initial email that we received, as well as the long-term value of the customer is high, right? And which is why it is now being flagged for escalation. So just going into actually what's happening behind the scenes, let me show you the recipe
So,
itself.
Neil, before
Yeah,
we go
yeah.
in,
Oh yeah, sure, sure.
yeah, just a question. Like in absence of what you just showed, like I know
Mhm.
we are using Gen AI and Workato behind the scene, but in absence of that, the process would have been a human would have to look at that email, parse out that information, like as in what is the type of case? Is it a return? Is it a cancellation or whatnot? Classify that, then also figure out what the right response is based on a FAQ or a rule book. There is a playbook to respond to that. All of that was done humanly, like as in a human with a
Mhm.
human stepping in and going through
Yeah,
the process. And
yeah.
usually it had to take hours to respond, and so in some
Mhm.
cases days. We looked at we tried this with some of to validate that this process is actually slow.
Yeah.
We tried this with some like businesses that are in hospitality, with E-Trade and so on. And you would see like the response, they would say, we'll get back to you in 24 to 72 hours. And that is because behind the scene, there's a human sitting behind this
Mhm.
email queue, parsing this information and figuring out what needs to be done, which can be completely automated, and this response can be generated in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, exactly, right. And so, a very quick way I could, want to call out is that you can have this query type, and right now, in what we actually showcase, it is still what I would consider linear flow, right? Irrespective of the kind of queries we're receiving, our general flow tends to be the same. But assume you had something more specific, like for cancellations, you want to have a completely separate process kick in, right? You want to set up a call with them, or you want to go into a different way. That would be very much possible, and can be integrated this into this flow as well, right? And I think that is super powerful about what we're doing over here, and it kind of completely changes the way we look at it, and it allows you to automate a lot of workflows and processes that people already have in place. And right now, we're just showing you a kind of a small snapshot of that. So yeah, 3D, you're right, right? So we get this new email in our support inbox, and what do we do here, right? We have taken the subject as well as the body, and let me just kind of show you how does it look. What does this recipe do exactly, right? And it's, I think, whoa, what it does is takes in that information, and then we actually use AI by Workato, which is our like making Gen AI easy to use within recipes, and it actually helps you categorize, the inquiry that's come in, right? And it actually puts it into various categories. It can go into as a cancellation, a shipping status request, refund query, return request, audit inquiry, or even others, right? And so it goes into any one of these based upon whatever information has been provided. And in our case, it actually went into return request, right? And then it also does a similar thing based on sentiment, right? It will actually try and figure out how angry the person was, or was it neutral, or was it grateful? Because sometimes on your support email you do receive good feedback and people are happy about it, and so we just want to take care of that as well. And so grateful, neutral, and angry, as well as this part of it is actually generating the response, right? And so I want to call out a couple of things here. We're giving it context, right? This is kind of a base prompt that we've kind of couple of tries to get here, and it ensures you sign off as a Zing support team, inquiry details, try and be friendly and polite, and you can obviously change that to be more formal as needed, and kind of the persona you want to provide it with, right? And yeah, set a token limit because you don't want to shoot over and write out an essay, and as much as possible give it context, and that is kind of a very common practice with prompt engineering with OpenAI. And so once this is done, we just kind of return the results back into our main recipe. And the other thing that we do that I mentioned, right, we go into Salesforce, and what we want to do there is we want to ensure that we are creating a case, right? And before you create a case, actually, you need to ensure that you have an account. because every case has to be linked to an account and kind of a trail for you to review in the future. And so we're just doing that over here. Search for an account, create it if it's not present, and create a case linking it to the account if needed, and then returning it, right? And all of this is actually active recipes that, if we get a mail, it'll kick into process. And after that is all aspects of the customer feedback app that you saw that will kick in. And what we actually did is that, if the tone or the long-term value, if the tone is angry or the long-term value of the customer is high, we want to actually escalate it. And it has to go to a customer success manager, which is what you saw happen. So even after the customer success executive has approved it, it goes into one level above of kind of one layer above of checks in certain cases. And so this is kind of just from a recipe perspective of how we go about looking at this. One of the few things that I would want to call out is that over here, take note that we actually do not send the email of the sender itself, right? Because that is supposed to be PII information. And so, the to from the email, like the to address of the email, is not going to be sent over in any case. And so, as much as possible, we should be very cognizant of the fact that, what information goes to these LLMs and Gen AI models is something you don't want to, risk losing out, right? And so, order information is very specific to your organization. It's not going to be PII, and order number is not going to cause an issue, right? And yeah, so that is kind of just one aspect of it. And let me quickly just dive back into the slide. And so classify and categorize, analyze sentiment, assess, assign priority, and auto-generate response. So these simple steps have quickly changed from going from hours or even days of response and dealing with customers' inquiries into something that you can do in minutes, because everything is actually given to you, has been prepared for you, and is 80% or 90% of the way is already ready, right? And you just have to review and do a sanity check on it. And yeah, just kind of want to go into how this actually translates into kind of business outcomes, right? You get faster, let me just go back to the slideshow. Faster response times, lower cost of operations, and all of this just leads to a better customer experience. And that's kind of it, right? What we were advocating here for is bringing AI into all workflows. And 3D, we have shown this a couple of times, but this is really, you can bring AI into every single department that you have into, within customer support over here, there's 5, we just showed you like 10 previously. And so within each of these, this is like a very small tip of the iceberg kind of a thing. And something we'll be actually doing more regularly as this becomes a series, going into and picking apart each of these specific cases and showing you how to go about building them, right? And big thing I want to announce and to call out again is that OpenAI and Azure OpenAI are available today. We're actually actively working right now for other AI providers, as well as having AI by Workato being available to everyone as soon as possible in a beta manner, right? Yeah. So 3D, do you want to take this over? Yeah.
Yeah, and this part, as I was observing, reading through some comments, like folks have questions around how to use it safely, what are the best practices, and so on. And so one is using the tools like OpenAI is going to be very powerful and impactful. But at the same time, we have heard concerns from CISOs and security teams, like what data are we sharing with OpenAI? How can we have more control and so on? So like with Workato, like with all these capabilities that we have from workspaces, environments, role-based access controls, data masking, log streaming, you have full control, one, on what you're sending to OpenAI. So examples of stripping off the PII data or any kind of business sensitive data or scrambling it, you could do that. You can also control who has access to using AI within your company and how you roll it out. And finally, you can build a lot of monitoring alerting just in case accidentally, inadvertently, some sensitive data gets shared, create security alerts and take action on those. And you can do all within Workato. The second part is we have a Gears framework that talks about, it's not about Workato, but how do you roll out Workato, manage lifecycle change management, governance side of things from for your organization. And those are the best practices, and we are adding AI extensions to it, so it'll be available very soon. We can go to the next one. You talked about this. Next one. Folks, if you're, based on the comments, you're exploring, you're trying to figure out where to use, how to get started. Some of these ideas hopefully give you the inspiration to try it out. But also, we have made it really easy. Like we have made the enterprise version of OpenAI, ChatGPT, available through Workato, and you don't need an OpenAI account to get started. So you can use AI by Workato to fiddle with some of these use cases and try it out before you get your enterprise version of OpenAI. So next one. Yeah, so that brings us to the close of it. If you have suggestions for any particular topic, any particular area that you want to explore, you want us to dive in and show you a demo, we are happy to build that out. And if even better, if you have built something and you want to participate in this session and be a host, be a guest presenter, we welcome that as well. So reach out to me. That's tridivesh@workato.com, and we'll set up that session as well. So with that, we'll just open it for any questions you may have. We are monitoring the comment section, so if you have any questions, we can take those. There was one question: is this live session or replay of the recording? This is a live session, but the replay will be available at the same link. Any other questions if you have before we close out? Okay, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to speaking with you in a couple of weeks. Thanks, Neil, for staying up.
Thanks, Rudy. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
All right. Bye.